Hi, welcome to Old Steam Power Machine Shop number 34. Well, we got the old big shaper out the other day and had to do a little job with that, so I'm going to show you a little bit about it. I had it on an earlier video. I can't remember which one it was, but we'll go through it again. And also I have a cutter grinder, which is not exactly a steam powered thing, but I thought you'd be interested in seeing how that worked. It's really a sort of a specialized form of machine shop work that is a dying art from back when cutters needed to be sharpened and made, and special ones made to do special things. And I wanted to get this machine going for quite a while, so the other day I figured, well, this is the time to do it. And the problem with it is I didn't have a center for the arbors, and so I machined up an aluminum block, sort of like what I did for the dividing head on the milling machine. In fact, it's the same block of aluminum. And to space it up the same height as the center that was on the machine, and also they had to be offset. They're a special kind of a center. So I got that lined up and bolted down and straight and indicated in, and so I threw an old beat up cutter on there just to see what it would do. I want to thank you all for your support on this channel. We try to do things super old school here to show how it was done back in the 20s with steam power, and it's been a great summer, and we've accomplished a lot of stuff in the shop here. So thanks for coming along with us on our little trip, and we'll get right to the machine work. This valve is the main shut-off valve. This shuts everything off. Steam comes out of the boiler here. That shuts it off. This branch up here has a valve that operates the branch that goes to the small engine, the O&S engine. This one here is the new branch that goes over to the big engine. This valve here runs up and across and feeds my steam heating out front in the front shop, and also heats up the parts washer. This is the draft control, the upper draft control. I leave it wide open all the time. Over here is the boiler pressure relief valve, and it's set to go off at 60 psi, and when that happens it will direct the steam up through that line, out through the wall, out past the smokestack outside. On the side here is the injectors, and we covered this before. This is the Hancock injector over here that injects water from these two big 55-gallon barrels into the boiler using its own steam pressure. This is the steam into the injector, this is the water into the injector, and then this turns the injector on. Over on this side is a Hancock Inspirator. It's a little bit different type of an injector, and then it's got two parts to it. One part, when you turn it on, this is the steam, this is the water. When you turn that on, this injector starts up and it pulls the water up to the second injector. So all the second injector has to do is just inject it into the boiler, and that's controlled over here with this lever. This valve is just an auxiliary valve that goes into the boiler if you, for instance, want to add water to the boiler before you fire it up. This valve over here operates the ejector, which I showed you before is used to fill these tanks from the rainwater tank. And then this valve over here is just a main shutoff for the boiler feed water. These are what you call hand holes in the United States. They call them different things in different countries, but they're basically just inspection plugs. There's a special rubber gasket on there, and it's pulled back, pushed back by steam pressure to hold it even tighter. And you take those off when you're storing the boiler, inspecting the boiler, washing the boiler out. There's actually 10 of them on this boiler because it's an industrial boiler. It was a boiler that was made for a piece of for a steam hoist, which was a piece of contractor shop industrial equipment, and would get rough use. There's a little sidebar to the video. I just thought you might like to see this. It's a mid-50s 32-inch stroke Gould Eberhardt shaper, and I'm just squaring up a piece of 1.5 inch thick aluminum to make an adapter for a center that I want to put on a cutter grinder that I'm setting up to grind cutters with. And this is out in my front part of my shop, and as far as I can tell, it's identical to the one that Adam Booth just got, and hasn't got it quite set up, but you'll see it on his channel, A-Bomb79, when he gets it going. I'm running it with a 3-phase converter, American rotary. It's got I believe a 7.5 horse motor on it. It's quite a brute. This is the clutch lever, and you have to kind of slip it a little to get it all the way back at rest. This adjusts the stroke. We gotta put in a wrench. Turn that back and forth, and this, when you're turning it, this moves. It goes from 0 to 32 inches. This is the number of strokes per minute, the speed. And, it's got 8 speeds in the A range and 8 speeds in the B range. So it's got 16 gears. And there's a plaque on the side here. I need to get this cleaned up a little better so you can see what they are. And a little plaque that shows the lubrication system. It holds about, let's see, 7 gallons of special whey oil. This was the benefactor. Not too far from here, they make turbine blades, replacement turbine blades for hydroelectric and steam turbines. Ship them all over the world. This shaper was in their tool room, and nobody there had ever seen it run, hardly. I bumped it up to 34 strokes per minute, and feeding it 20,000. Cut. I sprayed it down with a little WD-40. Here's the finished piece. It just had a lot of corrosion on it from sitting around. Cleaned it up pretty good. These holes were just there. Here's something I thought I'd show you. It's not really steam related, but there's a little sidebar. I had some of these plain milling machine cutters that were really beat up. I mean, this thing has been, this was out of a high school shop during World War II. And you can see it has a lot of chipped teeth on it. And I bead blasted it. And I'll show you how you deal with these. This is just a milling machine arbor that I use for this purpose. It doesn't fit anything that I have. We'll go grind it. Well, all good sized shops at one time had a cutter grinder department, and like I said, it's an obsolete occupation these days with indexable tooling. But this is a number 2 Cincinnati cutter grinder. It was probably one of the most, if not the most popular cutter grinder that was ever made. and everything on it moves. Everything swivels. You can adjust everything. It's got, the table is got a swivel on it, and set up a plain horizontal milling machine cutter between centers. And there's I'll take you around to the back side so you can see it. That's where you actually do the work from. This little gizmo here is a ratchet kind of a thing that stands under the tooth, and you have to adjust it for each size that you're doing, but it indexes each tooth as you go around. And what you do is you set the wheel on center with the arbor, and then you set the tooth on center with that, and then you raise the wheel up a certain distance that depends on what angle that you want on the relief angle. And on most of these cutters, I'm cutting them with about a 5-degree relief angle. So I've already got the machine raised up for that. I think it's 190 some thousandths above center. And once you get her set up, you mark one tooth so you know when you come around. Now this cutter is never going to be anything really great. I'm just kind of rejuvenated in case I need to cut a slot or something in something that's questionable with the horizontal milling machine. It's really beat up, and it's probably not even high-speed steel. It's that old. But okay, we'll feed it in until it's just about where it's supposed to start. And feed it with this. It's just strictly a hand operation. It's not touching that at all because it's still out around. It could have been ground several times before. Might have even been touched up by hand. It's not doing much, so feed it in another 10 or so. This one will take a lot more time than a normal cutter would because it's so beat up. I've got the corners out sharp on most of the teeth. But this land is too wide, and it's got to be relieved with a secondary clearance angle of about 10 degrees. So I've got to raise the wheel up another 250 thousandths in order to get that. One, two, 23, 50. All right. And we'll just, what we're doing now is just cutting back this trailing corner until there's only about maybe a 1/16 of an inch of land left. I don't know if you can see it. Here's the chart right here. And for a given grinding wheel diameter, this is how much you have to move the wheel up above center to get these angles. I don't know if you can see, but it's just starting to knock this back corner off. I'm just going to go around once before I take a real big pass. Make sure there's nothing really going wrong here. Maybe you can see the two angles there. On the finished product, it's pretty torn up really, but I was doing some work on the machine and I wanted to see how it was working. I'm making an adapter plate for this chuck. This is for an old, a friend of mine has an old lathe, and this is part of a faceplate or something that fits his spindle, but it's loose in this chuck, so I'm going to take this plate, machine it to fit the chuck on the outside, and cut a groove counter bore in it that this will set in to mount that. Now we're going to put some countersunk screws in from this side, and then it's got 3 screws in here that'll screw the chuck to the plate on the outside. This is a cast iron oil can mount. It's actually a Frick steam traction engine part that Cattail Foundry keeps in stock from the Frick patterns that Emmanuel has down there, and it's kind of a neat little piece. And I've got it laid out here to drill a couple of .364 holes in it, which is clearance size for 3/8. And I got to, because this is a smaller drill, I'm going to speed the machine up, taking out a low range. Feed it down with a hand wheel, and put it in gear. Lined up. Four ways you can feed downfeed this drill. You can use this long lever here to get a good feel on it. So it goes up, lock. You can use this lever here. You can use the hand lever over on the left side, do it left-handed, or you can feed it down with a hand wheel. Or you can use the power down. And you have 4 different speeds. That's what it looks like. In fact, if you're really interested in one of these for your oil can on your machine, you can write to Emmanuel King at Cattail Foundry in Gordonsville, Pennsylvania, and he will make you up one and send it to you along with the invoice.